This is iRacing. '26 Season 2 is here, and the broadcasts start on GSRC. And what a place to start with the series that started everybody's careers. We're back with the Skip Barbers once again here on the GSRC. And the question is, what can Adam Miles do this season to defend his crown? We'll find out today as we're home at Okayama for round one. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever order you want to say that. My name is Craig King. Joining me in the booth is Howie Burrows. Christian Deploy will be our director for the night using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. A free track in iRacing, a popular track in Japan, and home to one of Michael Schumacher's famous F1 races, Okayama is a track that doesn't need much introduction. But if you don't know it, let's go to our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Okayama International Circuit. Located an hour's drive northeast of its titular city, it sits nestled among the green, lush hills in southern Japan. Built in 1990, it's most well known for the two visits Formula One made in '94 and '95. But since then, national and international touring car series have come to race here as well. Otherwise, the two available layouts are mostly used for club racing and amateur track days. The full course is just under 4 kilometers with 11 turns, and the short version is a measly 2 kilometers with 7 turns. It does this by cutting out the portion between Williams and Revolver. While hairpins abound throughout the lap, overtakes tend to be surprisingly hard. The first corner, Atwood Curve, and Hairpin are the main spots where drivers can attempt a traditional pass. Hairpin makes for unique battles though. The unusually steep banking for a road course, plus the switch back into Revolver, means that holding it around the outside can reward a brave driver. However, while it is a more modern facility, runoff in some places is shockingly small, and it can be easy to damage your car. This section in particular around Revolver, Piper, and Redmond gets slightly claustrophobic. The pit entry requires some practice since you must use the inside lane of Mike Knight, otherwise you'll get a penalty. While it might not see as much use in the real world, here on iRacing this track is part of the base content, and so new road racers will find themselves here frequently. With it being suitable for a wide range of styles of cars, it's sure to excite many of the competitors who tackle it.
Well, a track, Howie, that has a lot of history, and this is actually a really fun track for the Skippies.
It feels like a regular fixture, and it's such a treat every single time. It's almost perfectly sized for the speed of these things. That first sector, very fast on the edge of grip, big drafting down the straight into the hairpin, and then more passing opportunities than you would imagine in these things through the slower final sectors into the imaginatively named last corner. Everything here is an opportunity in the Skip Barber cars. I've loved it in the past. I'm going to keep loving it now.
Oh, every time we come to Okayama, there is something about it that makes me love this track. I think it's just due to the fact that, just a quick point out there, the hairpin at 5, into Revolver at 6, and Piper at 7, you cannot make an overtake complete just through the hairpin. You actually have to get it through at Revolver at 6 and 7 at Piper. Last time we were here on the Skip Barbers, it was in the wet, and a fantastic moment happened on the final lap too. Fantastic battles at the end. So maybe today on a dry track, there's no point giving you the championship standing because we haven't even started. But as I said, Adam Miles won last time, and Ricardo Martin, was in second. Neither of those drivers here today here in Japan, but even with them just getting ready for qualifying, it does give us a chance to just go over the race details because it is round one. And it's 14 laps today around this little quick track, and it's an open setup, so use the iRacing baseline, use a setup you've made, or use one the community probably has shared. But if you crash, the day is actually still there. You get a spare car. I can't use my normal tagline there. You do have a spare car as it's the D series. It is a standing start, of course, but as it is a D series, disqualification at 17 incident points. Howie, I don't think we'll be seeing anyone flirt with 17 today. That's kind of a little bit of a rarity.
There are times I've seen it weirder happen, but very often the flavor of races in the Skip Barber is to build up the pressure as they escalate and go on. So you get a bit of a quieter start and it builds up to maximum intensity by the very end, of course. Going to be a very, very close pack, 4.3k SOF on the very, very strong field. It's a free track. It's incredibly popular as ever.
Yeah, why aren't everybody else not driving this car? I'm looking at you right now in chat. Why are you not trying this track or even trying this combo? As it's a fantastic little combo. It's a little bit cloudy out here today, but it doesn't mean it's going to be wet. It's just going to be cold, and it's a typical Japanese morning. A little bit of the haze up in the air, but it's 19 Celsius, 67 Fahrenheit. We'll have to look about the wind at some point in the day, because it is a southwesterly wind that is 16 kilometers an hour, which is very windy out there today as some of the drivers are getting ready. And just to give you an idea where north is, well, the start line, you're going up north. So that just gives you an idea that you're having a little bit of a tailwind followed to a little bit of a side wind. And these are fragile things, Howie, that can cause a little bit of issues.
They say that the wings on the front and rear are sort of mostly for show. You can take a little bit of a dent in those, but those wheels very, very exposed, of course, and the line of "you've got wheel damage" can sit very much in your rear if you take too hard of a shot. And you see a lot of side-by-side racing on this track. There's more than enough space for two cars, and you're running slow enough that almost every corner puts you on the limit of slip. So that can happen.
Oh, we've got Vlado Tito here for onboard. He's our number one for the day, and he's only hard, he's never dirty, and that's some of his driving. He had a few moments in the series before, but who hasn't had any moments out there when racing? And there's the nature of incidents and driving. It's hard, it's open wheel, you're sliding around as he comes around the last corner. He'll start his lap and go a little bit over the shoulder there, the left shoulder. Going to give us a nice little view of everything we need to see as he comes down to the first corner, braking in hard, slide that back out a little bit. Already got the fastest lap after that first time, and quite a good time as the heats in the tires will start to come through to Williams. And now really nice little section here, the Moss S's. Use that camber curve there on the exit just to get a little bit of momentum. It's quick in a faster car around here, but here it's a little bit slower through the Moss S. It's an uphill to the upward curve to the first real major part of the track, Howie. It's the long straight.
You're going to be slipstreaming others all the way down this. These cars incredibly draft sensitive, and you want to stay close enough with that first sector that you're within range here to approach the hairpin with a space in the middle, very helpfully. You pointed out earlier, you can't really get a dive bomb pass done in here because the inside sets you up on the outside on the revolver twice. Then going into Piper, you have to really stick with the car you're driving with and make sure you've cleared by the next straight, which is really one of your last shots before the final few turns to get a move into a corner.
We'll go on board with Josephine Becker. You got to get this right, and that's what I love about this track. It's old school, it's small, it's tight. A lot of tight places and tough to overtake, and I wouldn't want it any better. Josephine Becker in ninth. This might be the track that suits her. She does love these slipstreaming like tracks out here today, so see what she can do. Ninth is not the best time for her, but there's a lot of time to be gained. You get a 10th, you go all the way up to the top 5, so maybe she'll be able to get that in. Well, she just couldn't. It was only just a fraction faster. She'll stay down. Vlado Tito retakes the lead. Daniel Tuga will go into second. Raul Rojas Guardia, after getting a quick pole, falls down to third.
Obviously, one of the spotlights of qualifying year is some tracks are more well-practiced than others by plenty. A couple on this schedule, they only show up once or twice. They're pretty rare. A track like this, though, it's almost a part of iRacing legacy in itself. It's not quite as old as the car, but you almost have to wonder whether it is. It was here when I started. So drivers have got them practice after practice after practice, and at this point it's gotten pretty perfect for the absolute best of them around here. So you see things out of qualifying laps here that you don't see everywhere.
Yeah, you see a lot, and I actually can't remember driving this track when I was a rookie. That sounds really sacrilege, but hey, give me some credit. I was a rookie in week 13, so That's my own little fault there. Jeff Randall, the number 2 car, would love to try and see if he can get some more time out there. And this is the last man, or there's only 2 drivers left that's going to be able to set a lap time. Jeff's going to come across the long start-finish line here. And he does improve. And that's what I mean. 4 tenths is enough to send him up into 6th place. Ballard, what have you got? Haven't set a time yet. Only got 1 shot to set a time. And he does go straight in there. It's only going to be good for 17th, but that's going to have everybody up. Just 1 driver who is not doing their second lap. Oro Sarat will be in there, so we'll get ready to rack them up and get ready to play. Well, it's not 9-ball pool. It's not even 8-ball pool because we've got 19 cars out there today for action at Okayama. And a little bit foggy, but the humidity 94%. That will get very quickly removed, I would say, by photosynthesis and the sun as we go through there. And these are just a little bit of sighting laps for Ballard. And that's the important thing, really, is just get a little bit of sighting laps around here, because the more practice, the better.
And look at the gap between those top 2 cars if you want to see the skill ceiling here. I mean, less than a tenth between Tito and Otogo. They may be at each other's throats for the whole race. It's a very, very tight spread among our top drivers. They've had a lot of practice, and we're going to get 5 drivers in 2 tenths on this.
Wow. It's going to be straight to the grid. Get ready to get them up there. It's going to be interesting. You'll see the gaps as well. Vlado Tito will be first today with Daniel Tuga in second. Berto Otero will be in third with Philip Burke in fourth. And it's Raul Rochas Guardia in fifth with Jeff Randall in sixth. Adri Rina will take seventh with Jesus Cabal in eighth. David Pelosius will be in ninth. Josephine Becker gets your top 10.
9 more cars, making it almost an even 20 on the field. It's Peter Sapanki next to Ricardo Espinal Martinez in row 6, ahead of Diego Cayon Iturbe, next to Brandon Chuster. We have Andy Nadeau next to Oriol Serrat. Guillermo Ballard versus German Suarez. And on the last row, Steph Farrell Gonzalez does set a time and does make it onto row 10 all alone.
19 drivers, 19 qualifiers, and they're all getting ready for this. And because of where the start-finish line is here at Okayama, it's going to be a little bit of a quick run to the first corner compared to if the start line was a little bit further back. So very interesting, and that would be something to keep your eyes on. And I'm sure I'll keep my eyes on it when we come to later in the race, when the game of chess starts to happen. Who will want to make the overtake before the start line? And that would be drivers starting to have a little bit of an idea on if they want to make the moves or not. But we'll get there when we get there. And as they say in cricket, we'll win it in singles, where you got to get there through 14 laps. You need to get through every lap to make it count. A 4,200 shrink for Phil today as the camera gets ready. There's the camera. They're all getting ready to rev it up for 14 laps at Okayama. We're green, green, green. And it's as you expect from the Skippies. It's single file all the way through. Is there going to be a move from Otero to try and go in there? There is not. Everybody gets on through. Only one overtake so far, and it's at the back. Now we get another. It's all quiet at the back. Well, they want to go 2 by 2.
Widen the spread out after our top 2. They've gotten away, but there is definitely a little bit of a rubber band slingshot effect. There's a lot of pack racing in this series, and if you stay with the field, you'll have the pace in the long run. That's a little bit of side-by-side contact with Philip Burke, just about keeps it out in line. And now we're going to see how big the draft run is down the straight. I think that's Andrew Rena there. Tries going far off to the right, but the grass is going to quickly cut him off. And this whole pack very close, very connected. I don't imagine this top 2 are going to be able to run forever.
I can't see it as you see the drivers just all trying to find their way through. And Raul Guardia going up. Philip Burke not having the best of starts. He's down 2 already. Rena was trying to do what they could, and that could help them as Philip Burke just takes a little bit of the grass down on the exit of Revolver. The last thing you want to go is 2 by 2 early through here So maybe one of them will just give up the ghost because they'll be losing time to the rest of them. But no, late braking there from Burke, trying to fight this. Keeps it held around the outside of Redmond. But there's no method man here, so there's just going to have to be a method to make that move done. And Burke does it. Rena's going to lose out again to Jesus Cabal if they're not careful. And they get it done, but that just goes to show you go wide. Battling's tough around here. Like I said, Howie, tight track, tight opportunities.
Feel for Rena there because they didn't really have time or space to get back in line at any point. And if you're forced to run side by side with a car, you just have to keep running and hope that eventually opens up for you. Hope one driver gets the run. I think drivers would rather be in single file. That's Bertu Otero slowing down. A lot of slip in that first turn. Really easy to overcook it on the brakes and have that rear kick out. And he's just dropping back like a rock.
Yeah, I think the cold tyres were still there and there was no grip. It was similar to what the drivers had to do at the Nordschleife last weekend, but it was snowing. And it was wet the day before and there was no grip to be had. The battle at Atwood Curve is still something to watch out for. Josephine Becker just ahead of Otero here, making a move. Here's what happened to Erto. And you can just see, just goes around, and that's just a similar case there of probably a little bit too much speed, and the front not agreeing. We're almost on a staggered 3 wide here at the moment, as Berto's going to have to hold off any send here from Rena. Rena's going to try and send this into 3 wide, but no, just has to give it up, and just keeps it 2 wide behind with Martinez. And here we go. This is what I was talking about. You've got 2 battles here side by side because you can't make the move through the hairpin, can't make it through Hobbs. And Josephine Becker and Martinez, not Martinez, sorry, Otero's still battling. Berto with a real good recovery. Only lost 4 seconds in that spin. Kind of trying to make it back up.
This is precarious out here. We now have Jesus Cabal stuck side by side. Got a little bit of a wheel tap to push him out of line. We're single again. Certainly space to run side by side here, but it is about what's going to be fastest, whether they want to battle now or work as a pack for later. Actually, I've seen that top 2 keep good ground on the rest of the field. Really, they've stayed within this 8/10 bubble, which has got to be pretty good for them. You're seeing a lot of moving down this start finish straight. A little bit of weaving from Cabal. There's the 2 drivers behind, go side by side, and Berto is going to have the outbreak pretty good there. He's set up for the S as well.
Yeah, nice little outbreak there. We also saw that Rena still trying to make these moves stick. And the door is a little bit wedged open there. Rena's really trying to make it, and this allowed them to go side by side right now with Martinez, and maybe this is going to get that move finally confirmed into the Atwood Curve, and gets it stuck and now goes up the hill, and in front of them some more side by side. And I think everyone's just agreeing that this is the way to fight right now, is side by side. And Jesus Cabal and Otero is going side by side. Now you've got Josephine Becker joining. They're going to go 3 wide. There's only so much room that you can push your car off there and block. And Josephine says, don't even try it. She dives in, and that's a real good move there to hold on to it. I feel that was a little bit cheeky there from Otero. You can close the door and that slide. It's over pushing, as I was saying. You can close the door, Howie. But at some point, if the car's there, you kind of have to keep the door back open.
It's so brave for Becker to just keep her foot in it and commit and not give up. I really thought after going in the grass, this is going to end badly. But actually, she just was committed to beating out a blocker there and just getting up ahead. Now they're starting to slow down and run side by side again. We're getting a lot of side by side through this last sector. Even a lot of lower power cars, you can run flat through the final turn. I'm not sure you might be able to in these just because of how loose they get, but you want to carry so much speed because this car has momentum above everything else.
I think one driver who's not happy to see all this battling in front of him is Peter Suopanki, who's having to watch Ballard, and I believe that was Chastra. Yeah, Chastra just getting a little bit of a side-by-side check. But if you see the timing tower, all this battling here from this mid-pack has just cost them time, and you can now see the top 5 that they're on their own. Like from Palacios back, there's no one there. So this is what the top drivers are doing. I'm not throwing shade. This is just literally what the top drivers are doing right now. They have the run. They're not making the run because they're trying to make the time here. Tito Utuga really trying to just pull ahead here. Guardi is still in with that slipstream, but as you can see, there is a run. There's no point to overspeed here. They're keeping it safe, and this is what I was saying, Howie. This is the game of chess. Why make a move now when you can make your opponent wait a few turns.
This lap, Raul Roches has gained a 10th. He's been slowly gaining from a second back to 8 tenths, 6 tenths. This lap is around 4, 5 tenths. Once you're within that 3 tenths bubble, you're in for the game on that back straight. And then once you're into the game on that back straight, you're in with the battle. Both groups have been pretty much running single file in line, but I think having that extra car is helping. There's a lot of very subtle and complicated aero when it comes to what you gain from cars being near you and this far ahead of you. I mean, just go watch any restrictor plate race for an example. It has had its most extreme, but getting big elements of it here. This gap is slowly being made up, I think, by Raul Roches just by convenience of being here and not making mistakes.
Yeah, you got to see Roches Guardia took the fastest lap there, and Randall took it again. So you look at that, Guardia was a 43.1, Randall was a 43 flat, 4 and 5 tenths faster than the leaders. So this is fine. Daniel's happy with this. But I feel like it's also bringing the rest of these guys back with them. By the way, behind them, Philip Burke, who's lost the slipstream, 43.5 as well, as he's struggling. So this is now an official 4-car pack. And that's where things are going to get a little bit dicey. And I wonder if Daniel now realizes that that might be the time to go. And here it is. Finally decides to just pull out to the side and go, look, we want to fight together, don't we? We don't want to bring everybody else in. So let me take the lead and I will let you have it. And that goes. And behind Raul Roches Guardia, Jeff Randall does not change. Behind them, more battles still going. But again, no changes. They're a little bit chaotic in the back, but Rena does get up as the leaders. I'm not saying that what the backpack are doing, how he's wrong, but the leaders are showing them how to work together to pull ahead of everybody.
I think there is also a pace difference between this top 4 and the rest on the track, though. So maybe they've just decided we're going to have this battle, we're going to have fun, and the rest is the rest between us, because it's some interesting separations. Philip Burke is basically running in an island of his own tiling. He's not going to be able to really make ground. He's going to be a bit of a barrier in the middle just by convenience here. He's probably having the saddest race of them all. He's in a good place, but doesn't even really get to run with anybody. Just sort of has to hope something happens.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him right now, as we saw Rena making the move on to Otero. Just one of those things where he's like, I'm down -1, but I'm nowhere to be found. Starrett, by the way, retired. He's already been retired. Almost wheel-to-wheel locking at the rear there from Otero and Rena, and that may allow Rena to hold this round the outside the first corner into Williams. He does. You'll see the battle with Raul Roches Guardia is ahead of them. Just seeing what they do with the leaders as more battles happening there, and I think Raul Roches is getting hampered there from Randall as these two still going side by side. And now the inside for Rena, which is crazy when you think that Rena, at the start of this lap, held around the outside of the first corner, which is a right-hander, holds around the outside of a left-hander, and I'm not entirely sure what happened. Lead battle changing. Everybody is now, we're in packs of 3. Leaders 2 by 2. You look everywhere, there's battles to be had. Tino trying to take the lead back. Everybody come inside. It's battle time at the halfway stage.
This isn't typically when they do this. Usually I'd expect to give them a lot more time before they make that move. I'm going to make an observation about Otero, who's just dropped down a ton of places, just had a bad slide, in the sense that I'd call him by far the most aggressive, but also the loosest car on this track. And both those things have combined together. He actually has had a bit of an self-replay in the corner as well with Jesus Cabal. There's battles happening all over this field, and drivers are just swapping up and down. We have to pick which one's most important. It does look like they're heating it up. I'm feeling better for Philip Burke, though. He's with the top 5 now. Good lapping.
Good lapping from Philip Burke. I feel for Christian Deploy right now in the director's chair. Battles on battles on battles. Otero got taken out with a free wide incident there at the hairpin. More switching and changing here in the lead as well. Burke's gone off. Randall has gone off as well. A little bit of avoidance happening there as well as I think it was a slide. It was a slider. I had to just hold myself there. Thought that would have been a little tap. Randall is now losing out. He's that man in the bubble. So everyone's now having to change. It looks like it's your time in time out right now, Jeff, and going to have to work that back, and he may also be bringing Jesus Cabal with it. We'll look at this replay as well on to what's happened. And this is Martinez. This was the free wide. This is doable, but not when everyone tightens the line like that.
I mean, you asked earlier, why are we not here? Why am I not here on the track? Because I genuinely find these cars very difficult under braking. Yes, they're intended to be sort of rookie cars, but they get very squirrely and very tricky for me, and I've never really managed how to drive them effectively quickly, because they can just do things like that with you if your brake discipline isn't on that. It's a skill issue, it's on me, but I've never really worked it out completely yet. This battle of Jesus Cabal has been just as hot as ever, 3 wide down the back straight before settling out into this line as our lead pack have separated out just a bit. We have this battle, then the one for P9 that's got 4 cars in it, so plenty to play for no matter where you are, even if the win is not going to be on the table for everyone. Once we get past halfway, the intensity slowly increases.
I think it might be panic staging for some of the drivers as well. Now they realize may have been fighting a bit too much, too soon, too early. As here comes the Serpentine. I don't think that's going to help drivers out per se, so that's just going to stop drivers making moves. Valo Tito retook the lead and went faster once again. The fuel is starting to really come down into these cars, and what can you do if you're Jesus Cabal? You lost that position to Josephine, and Josephine's just still holding station here. As that is a 3-car pack. Philip Burke and Jeff Randall cannot catch back up after their little slides, and 3-car battle at this stage of the race, lap 8 of 14. I wonder if Guardian's going to look for this. This is the move where if you're never seen Skip Barber, the golden rule for slipstream tracks, 3rd place is the best place to be. He's just waiting his time. Matuga's going to go for the lead, and once again, lead changes, and Guardia says, no, just keep going. I'm happy.
And you talk about that golden rule, I'll often say almost every time I'm here on this show, and I'll probably say it again, the last few laps is more about where you are when the white flag comes than what you can really do after that point. You start to see a little bit of gamesmanship around where you want to be in that line and how often you really want to hold there. A few position change up and down the track, but a lot of our top group has remained quite close together. One of our biggest gainers was Balak. He's gained 8, but Otero's done nothing but dropping down after a very, very good qualifying. There's been contact, there's also been a very, very loose car under.
Yeah, I would like to say that was because of contact, but no, that's just how the car is set up, and it's not responded to these cold temperatures today, and I'm sure on other days it does. And also that with Jeff Randall, I did miss it on the camera, but I did go back to it. A bit of a botched wing for him now, so he is starting to really go down, and in fact he's been caught up by the other battle behind these guys. But I'm curious now if they're going to look for a move going into Atwood Curve here. They're probably not going to do that. They're just going to be happy to stay with this, because Burke is now 1.5 behind, and he's only just matching. So is Vlado going to make a move here, or is Guardia going to look to make a move? Vlado did not get the best of runs this time. However, now the slipstream comes in, and I think he realizes, yeah, let's just go for it. Now, what does Guardia do? Guardia just holds station. Is he actually... He isn't even going to follow through. And that's the sign of smart driving, because some drivers, not saying us, Howie, would follow through that gap and just lose time.
If you were looking at him on the chopper, you would see how much he just slowed down. He had to lift the whole way off. That was less of a not going for the move and more of an active refusal to make up any ground. So we know Raul Rochester's strategy. We certainly know that for sure after that move. The top two perfectly happy to trade. Sometimes you do have to trade it away and just sort of hope you're given that courtesy in return. Now, what I noticed is Burke made up ground when drivers battled ahead. If they're going to remain like this, he might not gain it the same way. That's Peter Salpanki, by the way. He's just had a massive slip, and he's dropped down the tower significantly. I think he may have self-spinned into some of the tougher corners on the track, and that's the beginning of the end, really. Further up front, the chase continues.
Yeah, it was a spin there, and unfortunately he caught Otero as well, so the race that you don't want to remember is still one not to remember. So we'll have a quick look at that replay as well, and Peter just having a little bit too much there. It is cambered. Doesn't look it, but there is a bit of camber there at Redmond. I do wonder if that cost it. And yeah, nowhere for Berto to go, really, unfortunately. He gets caught. But these drivers haven't been caught all day, apart from that one moment with Burke and Randall. So Wonder what they're going to do this time. Guardia, he looks too far away, and I bet if I went on board, I'd probably hear him lifting right now. He doesn't want to go. 5 to go, doesn't want to make it. I tell you what, he just made me eat my words. He's going 3 wide. Down he goes to the back straight. He says, hola, gracias. He takes that lead. And I tell you what, for an overtake at the hairpin, that's one of the cleanest overtakes I've ever seen.
And he just got it done without any hesitation, without needing to follow through these few corners. It was just done and dusted and not even a question in the world about it. So fair play, but that's a choice now to be here at this point. Now this battle behind has become just absolute crazy. Jeff Randall leading this back, but trading with Josephine Becker. Jesus Cabal and David Palacios have also just been going all over each other in this section. It's all very difficult to work out any order here. I think these drivers are just going to choose to scrap it out for P5 no matter what it takes, and it really has been quite the slugfest compared to what we see up ahead.
Now, I don't think they know that Jeff's got a broken wing. And, like, this is the wounded car that's doing so well. Look at Jotovic. He takes the middle of the track. Jesus is going to try and take around the outside here. They go into the first corner. Nowhere for Jesus to go. And with a broken wing with no grip, Jeff's still holding on to this with that lead of this pack here. Now you see Cabal to try and go around the outside of Williams on Josephine Becker and gets it stuck. They do bang wheels. They bang wheels. They don't do anything else there. But the more they battle, the more Jeff in this wounded car just continues to just harass. Also at the front, lead change at the front. Where do you look? Christian has got all his work cut out today, and we're doing the best we can. The leaders are side by side. These drivers are going to go 2 wide. They're going to go 3 wide. And in fact, they're 3 wide for the lead. And now you're going to see Utuga do the exact same thing that Guardian did, but it's not as clean. But he gets the position. You go 3 wide now with Cabal, Randall, Becker, and then out of nowhere, Palacio says, I just want in with this. This is insane. This is what you want when you Skip Barbers to kick the season off.
Now is pressure cooker time. It's been building and building and building, and it's going to boil over just a couple laps before the final one. A little bit earlier than we expect, but we love it as a very, very pleasant surprise. They are absolutely just slugging it out with each other. They are not deciding, no pretense, no working together, not enough time to make it up to Randall. We're going to have fun out here on the track and go in every place we possibly can, because we'll matter for the championships later. I love to see them just going all out here. This track really promotes it.
Going to be 3 to go very soon. Actually, no, it's 4 to go. Sorry, my numbers are wrong. I do have a degree in accounting.
It is 3 to go.
If you know, it is 3 to go. Sorry. I do have a degree in accounting. I do know how to count as well, but that's as good as I can go. Vlado Tito then. The question now is, does Vlado want to hold this? And this is going to be the interesting battle. If he decides to hold right here, fine. That's okay. But then you've got to play the game with the last lap, and then you've got to start looking at moves into the first corner, which is always tough. So let's just see what happens here. I think Vlado's going to be happy enough to just stay back here. It all comes down to what Guardia wants to do.
And where is Guardia after his move to the lead? Back to P3 like nothing happened. Going to sit on the left-hand side of the straight. There's room to go 3 wide if you're crazy. But again, he just checks up. He slows down. He just wants to be where he is. And then maybe with 2 to go, he'll think about doing something. With 1 to go, he'll do absolutely anything, and there'll be no waiting at all. Curious to see when in your head, when in these drivers' heads they make the move, because this is kind of a little bit like Super Speedway racing in the sense that there's a lot of chess going on between each other. Drivers deciding, where do I want to be for later? Now is the crunch time to decide and get yourself there.
Crunch time for these drivers as well. Josephine Becker gets past them all into 5th place, the most important position on the track. Why? Because it's where iRacing starts tracking your stats for top 5. Becker will take that P5 away as the leaders will start to see the white flag by Barney. And this is going to be a litmus test right now. Does Daniel go for this? Because Tito took the lead. Nothing happening in the lead battle for those drivers. They just keep on bunching up as well for that battle for P5. And now the question goes, Can Otuga put the aggression on to maybe look for a move at outward curve? But if he looks for the move at outward curve, that may allow Guardia to go for the insanity free wide once again. You see Random as well, still battling with that broken wing. And the fact that only Becca's got past that driver is just a real good sign there for Becca. What can she do? They'll be coming up the hill, but for the final time, the back straight belongs to Tito Otuga and Guardia, and they fan out. None of them want the slipstream, and I mean none of them. They're happy enough to use the speed right now. Now Daniel goes in with the inside. They're going to go free wide into the hairpin, and this should be Daniel with all he can. The over-under from Guardia will set up a side-by-side with Vlado Tito, but he can't make that move, and Otuga will take to the lead right now, and Guardia's looking behind as well. Jesus Cabal get past Becca. Randall get past Becca. Now they've got to get a little bit of a refresh here. Set yourself up for the drag race to the line. To Redmond they go. And Vlado's a little bit to go. I thought there was one more to go, Howie.
I mean, honestly, with the way they're driving, you sort of wonder whether there's one or two to go. But I saw Guardia sort of take that outside lane and thought, he's not going to take that, and he's not going to do something bold in pursuit of it because he might just be exactly where he wants to be. Now, you need to build up all that excitement in your body, Craig. Well, release it one more time because it's about to be even scarier than it was last time.
This is why we have week 13 to rest our voices while the drivers get ready for another season. And no changes this time in the leaders. What about Randall, Cabal, Becker, and Pelosios? Well, nothing going on there either. And again, the question now goes, what does Guardia do? And I was really surprised last time that nobody wanted the slipstream. No one was happy for that. And then out of nowhere, Daniel went for the move. I'll tell you what, Vlado almost looked like he was looking for a move into the outward curve. And that may have cost him because Guardia's looking, but he's pushing the tyre. He's pushing, and there's just not enough room. And now, that may just held up Guardia. That might be all she wrote for Guardia. They're going to go side by side at the front. Tito will have the outside, Otuga will have the inside, but the inside becomes the outside, and the outside becomes the inside. Guardia trying the over-under again. It does not work, and they're still side by side. Now the inside for Tito. They almost bang wheels. They're still neck to neck. Side by side they go, they do bang wheels that time. And Guardia with an accidental tap. They're almost free wide on overlap here, coming to Redmond. Guardia's still looking for the opportunity, still looking. He's got to fight off Otuga here, and he will. And he's just got to keep it together now against Tito, because it will be a drag race to the line. 2/10 is the gap, and it's closing. What has Guardia got in the tank? What has he got left? Has he cut that too hard? No, it's fine. Gonna need to get a real good run here for a drag race, but that 2/10 is too much. Running onto the gravel he goes. This is gonna be close. Looking for everything he's got. It might be all for naught, and it is. Vlado Tito take the victory by exactly 1/10.
Further behind, we've had another close battle, but Jeff Randall has kept it out ahead of the rest. It's been draft trains the whole way down. When I was watching Guardia's run, unfortunately, it was all kind of over when he got chopped twice up the inside. That got covered up. And then, as he approached P1, he got cut off by Tito again. So at that point, you're just losing enough momentum. Don't think he'll build up enough throughout the rest of the lap to unfortunately make that work for him. He was in the right place, but every microscopic inch of that track matters when you're trying to get that run done for the win.
Well, the drivers are happy. They've been exchanging the good races, the good fights. They had a real good fun battle at the front. And let's get to those standings, because as I did say, after 2 tries, Vlado Tito takes the victory away from Raul Roche's Guardia. And originally, I thought the gap was exactly 0.1. When you see the gap, it's going to be 0.084. It's still quite a close battle there. Daniel Tuga will be in 3rd place with Philip Burke in 4th. Jeff Randall with a broken wing and all finishes in 5th. That's a good result for a broken wing. Jesus Cabal will get that 6th ahead of Josephine Becker in 7th. David Pelosios will be in 8th. Ballot is your hard charger for the day, up 8 places into 9th. Brandon Chastra, very quiet, P10.
Everybody had something to fight for in this race. So, and Adri Arena finished 11th ahead of Herman Suarez, Diego Cayon Itube, and Andy Nadeau. Steph Farrell Gonzalez finishes 15th ahead of Peter Solpanki. And here are some drivers that didn't quite finish the race. Berto Otero had one incident too many, alongside Ricardo Espelano Martinez and Oriol Serrat, all finishing laps down.
Well, that was how you want to kick off the Skippies, and Okayama always delivers, and draft tracks always deliver for these drivers. So always nice to see that little battle at the end. And if you've never seen the Skip Barbers, well, that's what you're gonna get, and that's one of the reasons why this is one of the legendary cars in iRacing. I almost said one of the classics, but it doesn't exist anymore. So I do wonder if we now could call this a historic car. I might need to update my little video on historic racing. I'm just wondering if anyone's going to run up and knock on the door to say, hey, can I have a talk? But don't think we're going to get that happen for the day. So we'll just start to wrap up and thank the Skip Barber community once again for bringing us in for the 3rd season in a row at this time slot. And a thank you to the team today, Howie, Christian, and of course, Dougie. If you do like what you've seen and it's your first time here, click that like button and hit the subscription button so you don't want to miss any more action here on the Global SimRacing Channel, because we do have some racing this weekend. It's vintage racing, and oh boy, I love it. But we got to get to next week because it's Donington Park in the Grand Prix layout. If anyone knows me, they know that I don't like the Grand Prix layout, but it will deliver some fantastic racing with the Skippies due to those double hairpins. So that's going to be one you do not want to miss next Thursday on the 26th of March. But as I said, if it's a new weekend, that must mean it's some classic racing. The Grand Prix legends go to the toughest combination on the sim on Saturday afternoon. It is the Lotus 49s at the Nordschleife. And then we go to Road Atlanta for IMSA Vintage. Sim Racers Republic brings you some modern-day GT racing on Sunday with the sprint race at Sebring. And then the Lotus 79s close off the weekend with a trip to VIR. One man that will be having a victory is Vlado Tito. It's been a while since Vlado was on the top step. And with some of the big names not here, maybe it's time for Vlado to just see if he would like to win the Broadcast Championship. Well, wait. Donington may be a sleeper track for him. It may be where he goes home. The key thing is, number 1 today is number 1. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.
This is iRacing.